Hi, another day, another project. Some people ask, why do you do this to yourself? And I answer, because I'm an idiot. Today I'm going to be spinning bolts on my 2011 Mustang. You might say, what is wrong with your 2011 Mustang, idiot? And I would say, well, first off, I didn't get the V8. That's one big problem. Although I did get the performance package, which gives me all the GT brakes and suspension, but V8, no. Anyway, these Mustangs have a problem that's not too uncommon. The lower suspension A-arms and the bushings age much quicker than they should. My Mustang has about 75,000 miles. Its front A-arm bushings have been banging and clacking for many years. While the car was still in warranty, I took it into the Ford dealership. They installed some little hokey pokey shields that were supposed to protect the bushings from the heat of the exhaust. The second pair of A-arms have now degraded, again, 75,000 miles. So I've decided, in a peak of absolute arrogance, that I have the ability and the tools to replace the two lower control arms. Here's our patient today. As I said, 2011 Mustang V6 performance package. I know, that sounds like an oxymoron, but it's a fun car. I bought it new, special ordered it. This will be the first time I've done any suspension work on it. I have done the brakes and a water pump. I've got the new parts. Okay, let's take a look, see what we're messing with here. There's the lower control arm. Goes from here to the ball joint on the lower spindle. And the other connection is right here. This is the big bushing. This is the one that gets degraded by the heat, supposedly. This is the little tin exhaust that they put on it as a recall from the factory. This bolt, many sources say I'm going to have difficulty clearing the bolt to the rack and pinion bellows right here. Looks pretty straightforward. It is a 15 millimeter on this end, an 18 millimeter on this end. So that's where we'll put our air ratchet, and we'll hold the wrench and see what happens. Okay. That. And that. Whoops. That's how you wind up buying a new phone. Okay, let me try some more persuasion on this ball joint. Putting a pry bar up here behind the sway bar mount, the bolt against the A-arm to pull this down. There we go. Moving on to the rear mount, we need to address this bolt here. It's a 22 millimeter, so go grab your 22 millimeter socket and then take that back off and throw it away, because there's not enough room here for your socket and your ratchet. So hopefully you have a 22 millimeter wrench. Luckily I do. 22 millimeter, yeah, looks right to me. Oh yeah. Some of you might have, actual metric tools that can make this easier, but I'm an idiot. Metric 22, in a space where you can't reach it. A lot of my friends up north ask me, why do you have such a problem with the metric system? Why can't America just go metric? And I tell them, well, the reason we don't go metric is because we don't have to. The good news is you can get to the back one with a 22 millimeter deep socket and a 1/2 inch drive. So, vive la France. Just remember, you're supposed to leave the steering wheel column unlocked for this next part. You've got to be able to move the hubs around. And here's the reason why. We have to get this bolt out. And as you can see, the rack and pinion is going to be very close. Some online resources say that by turning the steering wheel all the way to one side, you can get enough clearance to wiggle this thing out. The nut on the back is welded on and secure, so you don't have to worry about that. But this one, you've got to back out and see if you've got enough room to get past the bellows of the rack and pinion. For this bolt, you're going to want your fancy-dancy 18 wrench. I think that is equivalent to 23 poutine. Very good. But you'll need to grab your American wrench to get enough leverage out of this bad boy to break it free. Dangerous? Sketchy? Yeah, it's the American way. Let's see how this works. There we go. Right on, right on, right on. Sure enough, that thing is snug against that boot. Close, but no cigar. I can't get the boot over any more than that. And I'm not feeling it's even that close yet. A clamp on the boot, and you can slide it up another, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or so. Still not quite clearing. Because I took out the back bolts on the A-arm, the geometry was kind of messed up and it was jacking the bolt down. So I put a C-clamp to get the lower part of the A-arm back closer to where it should be originally. That got the front of the bolt to raise up some. Still not quite clearing it. Pulling the whole mess forward. Made enough room. Squished the boot back. Finally got that sucker out. Hey, I think it's ready to pop out of there. There we go. Let's see if we can just do that by hand now. Oh, here we are. There's the old one in all of its glory. We'll see if we can swap that shield over to the new ones. Okay, I'm going to open up the new one. I got mine from Rock Auto Parts. You know they're good because they're made in Taiwan. Pretty heavy steel units. Made out of the finest Chinesium. Seems to be pretty accurate. As an automotive idiot, I expect people to do dumb things. So I was wondering why I had to replace these bushings and A-arms after 75,000 miles after getting the Ford recall that put exhaust heat shields over the bushings. Well, I think I figured it out. So you might notice this particular shield looks very nice. And if you've really got good eyesight, you'll notice an L, H, L, H. Generally, where I come from, that stands for left hand. You might notice that I took this off the right-hand side of the car, which explains why neither one of the two shields covers the actual bushing, because the technicians at Ford got them backward, leaving the bushings exposed to the heat. So if I take this, turn it around, put it there, the exhaust runs here. You can see how that's going to actually shield it from heat. It's just kind of another testament on why you should do your work yourself. If only the engineers at Ford had thought to mark the shields with the proper orientation on the automobile. Perhaps a R, H, or an L, H. If the mechanic had just read them and put these on right, 35, 40,000 miles ago, I wouldn't be changing these A-arms now out of warranty. I am an idiot. Okay, I just tapped the new A-arm into place with the dead blow hammer, lined it up there to get the bolts started. I didn't do a very good job. I put the other side together. My battery was getting low on the camera, and I was trying to figure things out. I've already got the tire pulled off on the driver's side now. I'm going to start busting this one down, and let's see what we find on this side. Here's the sticker and the part number from the A-arm I just removed. These are the ones that were put onto the car at around 35,000 miles under warranty. Again, these would probably still be working fine if the shields had put on the correct way. This is the side where the exhaust pipe runs, so the heat from the converter and the exhaust pipe were going right into here. Okay, here we go. As you can see, I've already got the shield on this one put in the correct location before I install it. We'll have to try to go back and put the shield onto the passenger side with it already in place in a moment. Interesting. I don't think it's going to go back in with the shield on it. So I'm going to go back to the workbench, take the shield off, and try to install this without the shield. I need the clearance to get that rear bushing into its cradle. Take two, no shield. All right, lots of coaxing. It's starting to finally go in. So I've got the ratchet strap on the front pulling the hub forward. Got a C-clamp on the back of the saddle for the rear bushing, pulling the bushing into its seat. No bolts in that yet. And now I'm tapping with the dead blow hammer, tapping the A-arm into its pocket on the front bushing. Getting that back or that front bolt in past the rack and pinion, it's no joke. Especially if you've just got yourself. It would be great to have a second set of hands. Unfortunately, I do not have that in my toolbox. I finally managed to force the bolt in. I used a punch and a pry bar to keep wiggling things around until I could get the head of the bolt past the bellows of the boot. As you can see, it's just barely slipped past, but it is past now and it's loose. So now I can try to get the alignment so I can get the threads. Let's see if we can see this. See if I can get the threads to line up with that. That's the welded nut it goes into with my punch sticking in it for alignment. So let's see if we can get this thing lined up and screwed all the way through. Okay, so we got the bolts and the bushings of the A-arms. Now we got to slip the ball joint stud back into the hole for the ball joint that's on the back of the spindle. I know last time I did this on the other side, it just took a lot of wrestling. These A-arms, the bushings are really stiff, so it really wants to fight you when you pull it down. Okay, ball joint is home. The little index groove in the ball joint shaft is lined up with the bore. So let's just see if we can get this bolt in. Bingo. So we need the nut. There we go. Okay, we're looking at the passenger side, lower A-arm, rear bushing, the one that should have the shield on it. As you can see, here's the exhaust I was telling you about. This is the catalytic converter. Probably at the closest point about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 away from that bushing. So you can see why they need a shield. So I've got the correct right-hand shield now. I took off the left-hand A-arm. And you see the tabs and the holes are already in the new A-arm, and it comes with self-tapping screws, so that's how it's going to sit. And you can see how that's going to give the bushing much better protection from the exhaust. Let's see if we can get a screw started in here. There we go. Okay, there's one more on top. Let me force these down. Okay, that's about it. I got the shields on. Everything's buttoned up. I've checked the tightness of all the bolts and checked the torques on the ones that I can get a torque wrench on. The other ones I just tighten the living crap out of, and we'll see what they do. It's the kind of decision an idiot would make. Here's what the shields look like in place. This is the driver's side. As you can see, this is nice. Fits tight and close around the rubber parts of the bushing. Again, in relationship to the exhaust. Everything went in just fine. Same on the other side. That's the way they were supposed to be the first time around. And I guess that's about it. I know I keep bringing up those shields, and those are really disappointing to find. Again, it's the sort of thing that if you had done yourself, you can make sure that it was done correctly. That was done under warranty. I knew that they put the new A-arms in. I never thought to check the orientation of the shields. I did see that shields were installed. Didn't go any further than that. I think that if I'd have bothered to get up underneath the car and check out the repairs more closely back when they were originally done by the dealership, I would have caught that error. Maybe been able to switch the shields before the bushings degraded and save myself the trouble of putting in a new set of A-arms at 75,000 miles. However, lucky for you, I'm an idiot, and this is how we keep videos coming. Until next time, have a good day.